You're invited to my birthday party. The invitation read. The idea of being social danced around my head. Logic says don't go if you don't want to. But a night to let my hair down is much overdue. People like me can enjoy parties too. Thinking I don't want the invite is simply untrue. Good music and good company is great. And any birthday is a reason to celebrate. It just takes strength to chat amongst a crowd. I turn invisible if the music is too loud. The last 2 events I didn't attend. I had only known the host and I couldn't bring a friend. I won't go alone, but I will be there, drowning in wine to deal with one more social affair. Invite accepted. No turning back now. I'll put down the phone and forget about it somehow. Ugh, what now? Why would he be calling? I feel my throat tense up and my stomach start falling. I'll text back later. I can't pick up now. I just know I'll mess up in conversation somehow. People like me are scared of doing wrong. You might call us weak, but we are so damn headstrong. Small tasks like shopping is simple for you, but for me every day is a challenge to get through. When you see me sat with nothing to say, I am simply taking in such an exhausting day. At times, I just don't feel the need to speak. This can make relationships for me really unique. Good friends know I need to be reassured, and that social anxiety cannot just be cured. I better get ready. I'm out at 8. It's just gone 4, but my biggest fear is to be late. The more time I have, the less I'll hurry. The less time I spend rushing, the less time I worry. Did I mention I must plan in advance? I can't be looking stupid at any given chance. The week before my new job was a mess. I memorised the journey to minimise the stress, but overthinking the situation made me more nervous and added to my frustration. Sam wants to meet at a small coffee spot. I picked my favourite one that I visited a lot. And when I get there and I'm on my own, I'll reach into my pocket and play with my phone. Off to that quiet corner I will trudge, watching over the public as I assume they'll judge. And as my friend arrives, I'll begin to say all of the things I had been rehearsing yesterday. This poem is my life at just a glance. We are friendly people too. Please just give us a chance. Hi everybody, a very big welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching this video. Some of you might be confused because today isn't my usual uploading day, but today is the 10th of October and that means it's World Mental Health Awareness Day. Basically today is a day that you're encouraged to open up and talk about it, and funnily enough, BetterHelp, who I'm working with in this video, has encouraged me to make content about it. I wasn't told to say this, but BetterHelp is one of the best people I have worked with, and I honestly feel like this is so important to talk about. I sometimes do sponsorships with brands that are makeup products or cosmetic stuff, fashion, things like that, which are all fun and great, but stuff like this is so important. The internet is allowing us to shop better, to learn better, to work better, but BetterHelp is coming along and saying, hey, why aren't we using the internet to live better? I have spoken about my mental health on my channel every so often, more than I do in real life actually, and I still don't even do that a lot because I feel like there's a lot of you guys out there that can relate to me a bit more, and I find it very frustrating trying to tell someone how exactly I feel and trying to open up to someone that doesn't really understand. People don't get it and it just makes me feel a little bit silly. They might take things the wrong way, or they might understand it wrong or start treating me differently. I just feel like, meh, what's the point? That can be very, very dangerous. I usually like to express how I feel and what exactly is going on in my little brain through art. So that's why I can make videos about it, because I find it easier to condense my thoughts down in some sort of video. Poetry is another example, which is why I made the poem for this video. Mainly it covers over worrying, overthinking. Social situations are just awful. Like, I would say a big 80% of my anxiety comes from social anxiety, and the highest point that I was dealing with feeling anxious, I remember just closing myself in. I've never really been the type of person who's super open anyway, and the more I struggle, I've noticed this growing up. Now I just know this is the way I work. The more I struggle, the quieter I am and the less I let out. So you can usually tell with me if I'm not opening up about stuff, or if I'm not talking about things that I'm struggling with, then that goes to show that I'm really struggling with it. And as well as that, as well as like the big things, like if I'm about to experience an interview or something, obviously I'm going to be nervous about that. There are things like everyday situations which are not expected from people for me to be scared of and worried about, like being invited to a really fun birthday party. Like, that is something that you should be excited about, not losing sleep over and losing appetite over. Things like this can lead to certain things. Like for me, alcohol hugely helps any sort of anxiety during like an event or something big happening, and I've got to really remember like to keep that under control. Not that I've ever had like problems with alcohol or anything, but I don't want to ruin a night through like getting so drunk that I am not able to move. People deal with things differently is basically what I'm trying to say. And I remember during the time where my anxiety was really bad, I did close myself in, and I remember spending like a big amount of time in my bedroom in the dark, and I just didn't want to go anywhere, didn't want to do anything. I couldn't go outside. I felt really self-conscious. And then luckily I got into health and fitness like to an extreme, and that really helped build my confidence. But then I had a bad relationship with food. I saw food as a bad thing because the more food I ate, the more anxious I felt because I felt fat and all sorts of stupid stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say here is it can lead to horrible things. You can have a bad relationship with food like I did, or alcohol, etc. Anxiety as a whole though can lead to depression. Once you get down that hole, it just becomes a mess and you need somebody to talk to. Like, the thing is with anxiety, you can't talk about anxiety to people because you're anxious to do it. Like, that makes you nervous, and you don't want people to hear what you have to say and then judge you, because that's another thing about anxiety. You think everybody is freaking judging you, so you don't want to tell anyone about how you feel, because then you think, well, they're just going to judge me even more if they know these things about me. It's an endless circle, and I remember just wanting someone to talk to that I didn't know. And I remember reaching out to an old friend of mine who I hadn't spoken to for years, and I was like, how you doing? I was at a desperate time, so I kind of needed somebody to be really intense and to help me, but I couldn't just expect to get that. Like, I'm not knocking this person down or anything. They were literally not responsible for helping me at all. But I did sort of say to them the situation, and I was feeling really terrible, and they basically had said to me, have you considered seeing a therapist? And I was like, no. But when I used to hear the word therapist, I used to think it was for people who had the worst life ever. And as much as it can be that, therapy doesn't need to be for people who feel as though their lives are broken entirely. Like, therapy can be for people in a terrible place, but it can be for people who just see that there's a lot of room for improvement in their lives. And we're so fixed on like what creams work best for our skin and what smoothies are healthier for you, but a lot of us kind of scare away from therapy because you label it as something you do when you're broken, you know? Really, it's interesting that none of us are saying therapy's good for your mind, just like good smoothies are good for your body and good creams are good for your face. We're so obsessed with what's going on the outside that we're not focused on our brain. Why aren't we choosing what therapist to pick rather than choosing a gym membership to get some funky muscles and paying loads of money? It's gym for the mind is basically what I'm saying. But that idea scared me entirely. However, I so wish I could turn back time, jump into that little timeline of Ellie being sad, miserable poo in her bedroom and say, don't worry about the fact that you can't go see a therapist because you don't even have the guts to talk to a stranger, let alone open up to her. Don't worry about the fact that you don't want to go to a therapist because you can't go outside at the moment, because you can do it literally online. If any of you happen to be struggling and you don't know what to do, you don't know how to reach out, you don't want to reach out, this might be a good option for you. And I'm telling you guys this as if I could tell past Ellie this. BetterHelp basically is a friend that you can have in your pocket any day of the week. Whenever you need them, they are there to chat with you and to help you. And you can contact them through phone call, a video call, text message, email. The choice is entirely up to you. Personally, I would hate video call because video calls in general give me shudders. But if that's like your choice, that's your freaking choice, do it. If you don't like the idea of text messaging, perhaps emails would help you, because you can work out what you're saying a bit more and you can see. I know what anxiety is like sometimes sending texts can still be scary because it's such like an instant thing. If you don't like the idea of instant messaging them, then email might be good for you. Phone calls might be better for you if you're comfortable with that. The idea of this, I think, is genius because you've got options. You don't have to have that scary, intense, like face-to-face eye contact situation that scares so many people away, which is so ironic because that's the reason they want a therapist, because they need to improve on that, and yet they can't, because that's how you know what I'm saying? It's stressful. Even if this doesn't fix all of your problems, you will have somebody there with you to try and help you through it and to chat you through things. I honestly feel as though this may be a step in the right direction for a lot of people, because you may feel more comfortable with the idea of talking to a certified therapist about your problems, because sometimes that feels a bit scary, but then when you realise, hey, they're just humans who are able to help, the scariness kind of dies down and you get more comfortable about the idea of therapists. Maybe I just had issues with therapists. I don't know what was wrong with me. These people have helped 600,000 people online. That's a lot of people. So obviously I gave them a try before I made this video, and even the sign-up process I think is really well done. You basically answer a load of questions about yourself, about your life and how you feel, and just your everyday living life. What is it like? Give them some sort of idea, and they'll ask you certain types of questions, and you just put in all this stuff about you, and what that stuff does is help them decide which certified therapist would be good for you. And I think that's really good, because a therapist can't help everybody, and the better match you have with somebody, the better help you're going to get, you know, the better they're going to be able to relate and understand what you're doing, and the more chance they're going to have all the information that you need. I honestly think you guys will be really impressed, and I know that therapy is pretty damn expensive, really damn expensive, and the NHS cannot cover everybody's therapy, unfortunately. Sometimes you can get like trial therapies and things like that, but with BetterHelp it is around about $35 a week, and if you consider the prices of counselling in general, that is significantly cheaper, and anyone who has looked into therapy or has had therapy before is well aware that that is a lot cheaper. So honestly guys, if you think this might help you, I would be so touched to know that this video could possibly change some of your lives. If you want to check out the link that I'm going to leave in the description box, please do. Sign up using the questionnaire, and then in 24 hours you'll be matched with somebody who is able to help you, and you can give it a go. You can just quit if you don't like it. There's no like contract, you're not stuck with them for a year. Just try it, see what you think, let me know. There are people who are able to help you no matter where you are, who you are, anywhere in the world. If you've got internet connection, they are there, and I just think that's really lovely to think about, and it's really reassuring to know. And last but not least, I would like to thank you guys for watching. I really hope that you're choosing to look after yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that you are not able to help yourself, because I promise you that you are. And I'll see you very soon. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat. I've got Patreon, I sell shirts, all of the things. I have a podcast now, and the very first episode went up the other day on chasing your dreams and becoming a YouTuber. That's available on my Patreon page if you would like to give the first episode a listen, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! Mwah. Spooky, spooky skeletons, shivers down your spine.